Hello everyone, I have some big news to share, so let me get right into it. I have started my own game studio as I've decided that I want to make my own video games. That's why I'll be hiring, so it could be one of you. So be sure to watch until the very end for all the details, especially if you end up watching this video many months after it's published. In case you're new here and this is your first time stumbling upon my channel, let me introduce myself. I'm Newman and I'm a full-time Microsoft employee. I work on the business side of things under Azure, and I professionally wear multiple hats, mostly revolving around BI, data engineering, and data science, and nothing related to the Xbox or gaming division. I've been running this channel along another one for a little while now, and recently I figured I wanted to do more than just videos about video games. I actually want to try making one myself. I have some of my own money saved up, and I figure this type of decision will get progressively more difficult to make as the years pass on. So, the time is now. If you're a long-time Age of Noob viewer, don't worry. As I mentioned in my previous update video, I'll continue to upload the occasional video, likely similar to the last video that I made about the evolution of towers. So Age of Noob should remain as is. That said, as I make progress on the game, I'll definitely bring it up here every now and then, probably to get opinions or maybe even some playtesting from you folks, if you're up for it. As for Game Noob, I'm putting it on an indefinite pause again. There's absolutely no way I can do my full-time role, run 2 channels, and develop a full video game all at the same time without some or all of them suffering. So for now, I'll post the occasional Age of Noob video and focus on my job and my game studio. Speaking of which, it is called Ebru Studios. Its name serves as a nod to the traditional Turkish art form. I have started a new YouTube channel for Ebru Studios to hopefully build up an organic audience through dev diaries and updates on the game. I'd really appreciate it if you folks head over there and subscribe if you'd like to stay up to date on the progress. With that in mind, I obviously need to be very realistic to make sure this is sustainable, and ideally something I can grow into a proper studio that can eventually sustain the livelihood of its members, excluding myself. Maybe eventually including myself as well someday, but for now, my goal is to break even and pay my team. I am well aware on how saturated the market is, so breaking even on our first game will be a massive success as far as I'm concerned. For that reason, I'll likely start with a 2D game. I actually have an idea each for both a 2D game and a 3D game, but 3D games are usually tougher to implement, especially for a first time. But it really depends on who I meet, right? If the stars somehow align and I can find a core group of people who are capable of bringing the 3D game I've envisioned to life, then maybe we'll start with that. Maybe there are great 3D artists and Unreal Engine experts watching this video who'd like to join on the project. Or perhaps there are more Unity developers and 2D artists and animators in the audience, and we end up building a 2D game instead. So this will partially depend on who's watching as well, I suppose. Alright, with that out of the way, let's talk about what I mean by hiring. Full transparency, I'm of course nowhere near being in a position to sustain paying full-time employees at my game studio. Definitely not at this stage. So the folks who will be joining me will be most likely working on a contract basis or receiving milestone-based payments rather than being actual employees. Eventually, I'd of course love to get to a place where we ship a successful game and I can bring people on full time. But for now, being realistic, we're likely going to have to stick with this type of engagement. Okay, so who am I looking for? First, the must-haves, the group of folks who I will be paying and will work significant hours on the game. For the 2 or 2.5D game, I'm looking for game developers who are experienced in Unity, Godot, or Game Maker. You'll be closely working with me and everyone else to bring our ideas to life in the game engine. I'm also looking for talented 2D artists to draw the game's characters, environments, and asset layers. You'll of course be working closely with me as we'll work on the art direction together. I'll need 2D animators or riggers to handle character and asset animations, whether through frame-by-frame animation, rig-based systems, or tools like Spine, Dragon Bones, or Unity's animation features. I'll need a composer/music producer to create the original soundtrack and music for the game. And finally, I will need voice actors as well. Depending on the scope of the game, I will either need certain voice actors to bring characters to life, or for much simpler NPCs with very few lines, perhaps folks who have good microphones who are willing to volunteer to voice a few lines here and there are also welcome. Apart from those 5, there are also a few optional roles that can add value to the project. These are the folks who are expected to work on the smaller portions of the game, and perhaps other miscellaneous things here and there. Working with me, a sound designer or an audio engineer can assist with sound effects, mixing, and mastering. A 2D VFX artist can create visual effects to support gameplay clarity, and a level designer can assist with the layout, pacing, and flow across the game's environments. If we end up going with the 3D game instead, some roles will of course shift. I'll need an Unreal Engine developer instead of the other ones, of course, a 3D artist for modeling and texturing the environments, props, and characters, and a 3D animator for rigging and animation. The optional roles will remain the same, though I will likely need more voice acting help than a 2D game. So if you're interested in joining me in this journey, please fill out the form linked below. I'll review your experience, portfolio, availability, and payment expectations, and make decisions accordingly. Please be as detailed as possible so I can make informed decisions, and make sure you read each part carefully as I clarify each section. Also, and this part is not that important, but if there's anyone in the audience who would like to volunteer building a simple website for us, please also fill out the form. It'll be something very simple that will serve as a landing page for now. And finally, if you don't fit into any of these, then you can still support me by sharing the word to friends and family or other internet mediums that you frequent. The broader the audience, the higher likelihood that I'll find the right people. My goal is to build a team that's both realistic and sustainable, one that allows us to actually finish and ship a game without running out of money. Given that I'm funding this project fully out of my own pocket, I want to be transparent about what I can offer. I'm committed to making sure this is a fair and respectful engagement for everyone involved, as I want to build something meaningful together without anyone feeling undervalued or overworked. So, in full transparency, it is likely that quite a few of you will be too expensive for me to onboard, but I still recommend you to go ahead and fill out the form nevertheless, as we may be able to figure certain things out. That said, if you're a student in a university or college who's looking to gain some experience and grow your skills, whether it's in arts, animation, development, or any other area that I've mentioned, please don't hesitate to apply. Depending on the circumstances, I can bring you on in a volunteer capacity or even explore paid opportunities wherever feasible. So whoever you are, wherever you're from, if you're interested, please fill out the form. Barring some anomaly, I promise to get back to each and every one of you with a response. And finally, as for what you can expect when working with me, here are a few key things. First, and this is something that's ironically missing in many workplaces, I treat people, as human beings. That's always my starting point. Second, my mentality throughout my career has always about getting shit done. I don't care how many hours you work or where you work from. There's no micromanagement. What matters is whether you are reliable, respond in a reasonable time, and deliver on deadlines. If the answer is yes, I'll give you the space to do your thing. So the expectations are rooted in responsibility. As long as you deliver quality work on time, however way you work is up to you. Third, I'm very organized and I don't run projects with ambiguity. This means that you'll always have clear goals, objectives, and timelines. There will be room for creativity and flexibility where appropriate, but you won't be left feeling lost or directionless. And of course, I'll be available if you need to ask questions or get some further clarity. So really, the only things that I ask are, be respectful to me and your teammates, and get your work done on time. If you do that, we won't have any problems. On the flip side, you can count on me for direction, support, troubleshooting, and help securing tools or software when needed, budget permitting. While of course there are financial constraints like I mentioned, make no mistake, I'm very serious about this project. I'll be actively overseeing everyone to make sure that we stay on track, on time, and on budget. I have quite a bit of experience doing just that throughout my career, and I want to work with people that I can genuinely rely on. Finally, for those of you who stumble upon this video many months after I have published it, you can still go ahead and fill out the form and send me an email stating that you have filled it out and are interested in joining the team. I'll do my best to review it and get back to you accordingly. I'm really excited to get started on this journey, and I'm grateful that I have an audience that I can talk to, get help from, and hopefully build something awesome together. So, as always, thank you so much for your support, and I hope to hear back from you folks very soon. Till next time.